The. In the loud, crowded chaos of a waterfront bar, a young, cocky Navy recruit named Jake was holding court. Fresh out of basic training, he and his buddies were celebrating their first taste of freedom. Their uniforms crisp and their attitudes even sharper. They were laughing, bragging, and generally making a scene, feeling like kings of the world. Across the room, a woman sat alone at a small table, nursing a simple glass of water. She was in her late 40s, dressed in unassuming civilian clothes, with a quiet strength in her posture that went unnoticed by most. Her name was Admiral Amelia Hayes, one of the highest-ranking officers in the Navy and a former SEAL. Tonight, she was just a civilian enjoying a rare moment of peace. Jake, fueled by cheap beer and bravado, spotted her. To him, she was just some random woman taking up valuable space. "Hey, lady," he slurred, swaggering over to her table. "This spot is reserved for real sailors. Why don't you move it?" He gestured vaguely with his bottle, splashing a bit of beer on the floor. Admiral Hayes looked up, her gaze steady and calm. "I think there's plenty of room for everyone, son," she said, her voice even. Jake scoffed. "Son, I'm a United States sailor. Show some respect." He leaned in, putting his hand on her shoulder to push her. "Now," I said, "move it." The moment his hand touched her, the atmosphere shifted. In a movement so fast it was almost a blur, Hayes grabbed his wrist, twisting it just enough to drop him to his knees. The bottle clattered to the floor. The bar went silent. Jake's friends froze, their drunken smiles wiped clean off their faces. Hayes still held his wrist, her grip like steel. "You want to talk about respect, sailor?" she said, her voice now carrying an authority that cut through the silence like a knife. "Respect isn't demanded, it's earned, and you haven't earned a thing." She let him go, and he scrambled back, cradling his wrist, his face a mixture of shock and pain. The bar's owner, a retired chief petty officer, who recognized the Admiral instantly, rushed over. "Admiral Hayes, is there a problem here?" he asked, his voice filled with deference. The word Admiral hung in the air. Jake's jaw dropped. His friends looked like they'd seen a ghost. Admiral. Not just an officer, but an admiral. He had just tried to physically push an admiral, and not just any admiral, but one with the steely eyes of a combat veteran. Hayes stood up, her composure perfect. "No problem at all, Chief. The young man was just leaving." She looked directly at Jake, her expression unreadable. "Weren't you?" Jet could only nod, his voice completely gone. He and his friends practically tripped over each other as they scrambled out of the bar. Their night of celebration turning into a nightmare of humiliation. As the door swung shut behind them, the bar slowly returned to life, but with a new topic of conversation. The story of the cocky recruit and the quiet woman who turned out to be a SEAL admiral became an instant legend. Back at her table, Admiral Hayes took a calm sip of her water. She knew the young sailor had a hard lesson ahead of him, one that would likely be reinforced by his command tomorrow morning. But it was a necessary lesson. In the Navy, you never, ever judge a book by its cover. Because sometimes that unassuming cover hides one of the most formidable forces you'll ever meet. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.